Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. I'm the Casual Racing Gamer, and today we are talking about PSVR2 and do I need to buy it? Do I need to buy it? Can I hold back? I haven't bought it yet, but I am like right there, but then I pull myself back. So in this video, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the PSVR2 when it comes to racing games, sim racing, against PCVR and the Quest 2 and other headsets available on on PC. If you own a PC already, or if you have that, do you need it? Do you need PSVR2? Is it necessary to spend the money? So we'll talk about the headset, we'll talk about the pricing, and let's talk about what might be good for you and what is good for me. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about the topic as well. So, definitely leave comments below, but keep it civil, guys. Keep it respectful and keep it civil. There's no reason to fight over this. It's going to be a good conversation, and there's going to be good points for each side. And, the comments that you guys leave might push me to purchase something that I wasn't expecting to purchase, or it might stop me from purchasing it, depending on the experience that you guys have and what you have used. So first, let's talk about it. PSVR2 just dropped recently for the PlayStation 5. I do own a PlayStation 5, so I already own half what would need to be purchased to run that. Now PSVR2 runs like $500 to $550 US, right? So it's a great price for the headset, but it's not cheap. People say, oh, it's a really cheap VR headset. It's not cheap. $500 is a lot of money to a lot of people. So, it's a good price for what you're getting in the headset, but I don't want to write it off as it's, it's a cheap purchase. It's not a cheap purchase, right? The PlayStation, you also need a PlayStation 5. So if you own a PlayStation 5, yes, you're halfway there. If you don't own a PlayStation 5, you then need to bundle in, $400 to $500 for a PlayStation 5 to run PSVR 2. And that, don't forget, we're talking about racing games here. This is all about just sim racing and racing games. I'm not talking about any other games for VR because, for me, I use my VR for racing, and sim racing is I don't use my VR headsets for pretty much anything else except for racing. So you also need to purchase GT7. So I don't know if it's on sale anymore. I know the game was on sale at some point. So that could be like another $50, $60 on top of it just to purchase the game. So you need the headset, you need a PlayStation 5, and you also need the game. Now, what does it offer? It offers, it offers eye tracking, which is really cool. Now it's wired, and, doing sim racing, wired is totally fine. I only run my Quest 2 wired, so I'm not worried about a wire. If you're doing any other kind of VR outside of racing games, wirelessly is like next level VR. Like I just want to tell you that right now. If you want to use your headset for other things outside of racing, wireless VR and having the freedom to spin around 360 with no wires around you is a game changer. But we're not talking about that. We're just about racing games. So yes, the PSVR2 headset looks really good. And let's talk about comments and things I've seen and reviews of videos that I've seen about the headset. So it does offer eye tracking, which is cool. So, where your eyes are looking will be the sweet spot, but everything outside of it, I've been reading is blurry. It's not clear. But also let's talk about the screen, right? It has an OLED screen, which that's great. Good contrast, good blacks, really deep blacks, which is great for, don't really care about it in sim racing, to be quite honest with you. We don't really, even if you're doing a night race, it's not going to be dark enough at night that you need to be like you're in darkness. So does an OLED screen look good? Sure. I used to own an original Quest, which had an OLED screen. And you know what? I couldn't wait to get rid of that headset and switch over to a Rift S, which went to an LCD screen, because I couldn't stand the screen door effect. It was so bad on the original Quest, and when I went to the Rift S, I was so happy. I didn't have that deep contrast, I didn't have those deep colors, but I got so much more. I got more clarity, I got less screen door effect. And to me, when it comes to VR, I'm more interested in clarity and sharpness over colors and contrast. That is me personally, especially for sim racing. You need to look at text, you need to read text, you're looking at places, you're looking at numbers, you're looking at timings. It's really important to have that stuff clear. So to me, if a tunnel is really dark and black and the blacks are so good and the contrast and the colors are popping, that doesn't get me as much as me being able to see my time on a lap clearly, quick looking, and I can see everything clear. I don't need to squint. I don't need to look. I don't need to do anything. So to me, clarity is so important in a VR headset. So that's just getting the OLED screen out of the way. Now, another thing with PSVR 2 is, a lot of people are talking about like this Mora thing or screen door effect. I don't know which it actually is that they're seeing, which is one reason why I do want to get my hands on that headset, just so I can review it and give like a true, honest opinion on the headset and how it actually rates to like PCVR headsets in clarity. But from everything I'm reading is they have like this filter over the lenses, and it makes things not clear, or it makes it look like a dirty screen effect. To me, that to me is a thumbs down, right? So yes, you're getting a good screen, but me personally, I wish they went LCD. I really wish they went LCD, because the clarity would be so good. You wouldn't have to worry about any screen door effect, any dirty screen looking filter, anything like that. But they chose to go with popping colors, deep blacks, and good contrast. So they chose that route. So that's, to me, that's kind of holding me back there. But let's also now go into, let's talk about the Quest 2. I'm going to talk about some other PCVR headsets. So Quest 2 to me is an awesome headset. It is a great headset. It is $400. Do you need a PC? Yes. So a lot of people say, oh, well, with PSVR 2, you don't need to spend all this money on a PC. But what if you already own a PC? Right? A lot of people already own computers. So it's not like no one owns a computer and everyone has to run out and buy a new computer. Now, let's say you don't have a good graphics processor. That's the great thing about computers. You can upgrade your GPU and be good. Like, you don't need to buy a whole new computer. If you have a decent computer, and then, you can just upgrade your processor, upgrade your graphics processor, your CPU chip. You can throw in another power supply for the same price almost, right? So you can buy like a GPU, and let's just say that's all you needed and you were good. That might be the same price as purchasing a PlayStation 5 if you don't own a PlayStation 5. So if you buy a PSVR 2 headset today, you're locked in to that headset, right? You're locked into a PS5, the technology that's in it today. So, if a PS5 lifespan is going to be, I don't know, maybe like another 6 years, 4 years, even 5 years, you're locked in. Technology moves so fast, but you're now locked in at what you're getting today. You can't upgrade. They're not going to give you another headset, right? They're not going to do a PSVR 2 Pro and all of a sudden everything's much better, right? We haven't seen anything like that, and I don't think you're going to see that. So if you do see that, then think about it. You got to spend another $500 or something, in a couple of years. So, you're not looking to do that if you're going, console route with the headset. So you're planning on keeping that headset for the next 5 years or so with your PlayStation 5 and the technology that's in there. With PCVR, there's a ton of headsets that come out yearly. We have new headsets dropping all the time. I have a Quest 2. Is it the best headset out there? No. Am I happy with it? I am so happy with it. Running with a good graphics processor, you talk about compression with a Quest 2, if you ever heard it, with where you actually, things get a little blurry and compressed and you don't get like so much clarity running it through a wire through PCVR. But you can boost up your bit rate, and trust me, it looks really, really good. It looks good enough that knowing that the Reverb G2 has a higher resolution screen and more clarity than the Quest 2, even when the G2 was on sale for like $350, I am so happy with the Quest 2 that while I contemplated buying the G2, I held myself back because I didn't need it. The Quest 2 is it's that good. I still use my Rift S. The Rift S is what, like 3-4 years old or something like that? Something like that. I don't even know. But even the Rift S looks so good. And is so playable. I still use it today. Even I switch off between my Quest 2 and my Rift S. So even if the PSVR 2 headset offers more sharpness, more clarity, which everything I've read, it doesn't. It's actually more softer and blurry. But even if it did, would it make me switch from PCVR to PlayStation VR for sim racing and racing games in general? No. Well, of course not, because I already have the option to buy better headsets on my PCVR, and I haven't gone that route. So, and also, it's what you can afford. If you can afford a PC, a decent PC, with like the Quest 2, then to me that's the better route, no doubt about it. And why? Well, what about games? Let's talk about racing games. You got a PSVR 2, you get one game, right? You got GT7. I don't know if there's anything in the lineup in the future. Is GT7 a good racing game? Sure, it's a good racing game. It'll keep you busy, for hours and hours and hours, and that's great. But let's talk about PCVR, right? We have my favorite racing game of all time, right? Is the sim racing iRacing. it's expensive, guys. It's expensive. iRacing is expensive. It's a subscription-based service. Plus, you need to, after you start moving up, you need to buy tracks. You need to buy cars. It's not a cheap way to go if you want to do sim racing. But to me, it is the best if you want to do sim racing and really enjoy online gameplay. The online everything with iRacing is, to me, top notch. But let's say you just want to buy a game. You don't want to, go into this whole subscription thing and all that. We have Automobilista 2. I recently done videos on this. You can check them out. It's such a great game. Automobilista 2 is so good. It looks so good in VR as well. So everything in VR runs super smooth, super good, great game. You have Assetto Corsa, the original. So there's so many mods for this game that they keep coming out with, and you can just keep all these free mods as well. So you can just keep updating and changing things in Assetto Corsa, and the VR runs really good. We have Assetto Corsa Competizione, and to me the VR in that is not good. So I'm not even going to consider that game because I've tried that game in VR and the VR is not optimized, really bad, and I just don't play it. So the original Assetto Corsa, top notch, great game. What else do we have? We have Project Cars and Project Cars 2. I haven't played Project Cars 2. I do own Project Cars, but again, it's just more options. Dirt Rally 2, if you like dirt racing. Supposedly, I don't play that. I'm not into dirt racing, but that's another option. There's just so many options when it comes to PC VR that if you're gonna do racing, I feel like that's where you want to be. So if you can afford to go that route and you're really into racing games, PSVR2 is yes, it's a good headset. And also a lot of the reviews that you guys are watching and a lot of the comments, and you can read them and you can listen to them. It's almost like they've never tried VR racing before because they're like, holy cow, I'm so immersed in this. I've never been so immersed in a game. I feel like I'm actually in the car. So it's not a thing where PSVR2 is that good and that great. It's just that they've just never witnessed it. So if they witnessed it on PCVR like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you'd have that same reaction. They're just having that reaction because they're new to VR. They're new to racing games, and a lot of these reactions are more like not that PlayStation VR2 is so much better than other racing games in VR. It's just that they haven't witnessed it before. They haven't tried it before. I still put my Quest 2 headset on, hop into an iRacing, and years and years later, it still impresses me. I am still impressed hopping into a race today in VR like I was 4 years ago. Without a doubt, it is amazing. Racing was made for VR. I've said this in so many of my videos that if you do racing games, VR is it. But let's also take another thing, guys. If you're going to do racing games and let's say you go the PlayStation route, definitely want a budget for a wheel and pedals. You can go a less expensive route, and then you can go, to thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I think you can still have a great experience, buying a $200-$300 wheel and pedal set as opposed to, buying $1,000 or $2,000, $3,000 and up set. So you don't need to go super expensive. You just want to enjoy and have a good time. But that is definitely something that if you're going to go into racing games and you really want the true experience, whether you hop into PSVR2 or you hop into PCVR, that's something you want to actually look into, right? You definitely want to get a wheel, you want to get pedals, you want to be immersed in the whole thing, and you're just not going to get that with the controller. So definitely budget for that. Back to PCVR, while I have a Quest 2, Quest 3 is coming out later this year. So in my head, I'm like, well, do I buy a PSVR 2 and not buy a Quest 3? Like, how much money can I spend on a headset, right? For me, as a content creator, I'd love to buy everything. So hopefully if you guys subscribe and help me out, it will help me buy all these things so I can actually review them for you and give you, my honest, true opinion, because I do have a lot of experience with different VR headsets in racing games. So it would be really helpful if you guys just subscribe and like it and, help me out with the algorithm here. But besides that, we have a Quest 3 coming out later this year. To me, as a sim racer, I think I'm more excited about the Quest 3 than PSVR 2. So if I had to pick one or the other and buy another headset this year, I'm going Quest 3. I'd love to pick up both of them, and it's still an option for me. I'm still really thinking about the PSVR 2. Unfortunately, it's not available yet at Best Buy or Amazon, which I prefer to buy it from there. It's just simpler. I can just go grab it, pick it up, and do my thing. And also, For me, the Quest 3 is more exciting to me as a sim racer, and you know, being that it's going to boost even better than the Quest 2 makes me really, really excited for that. I love my Quest 2. I love my Rift S, and I love PCVR racing. And again, like I said, there's so many games available. You know, you're limiting yourself to one game if you're a racing fan on the PlayStation 5. But what does it come down to really in the end? I think it comes down to budget. What is your budget? What can you afford? What do you want to spend? I don't think it comes down to, well, I already have a PlayStation, so I might as well just buy a PlayStation headset. You know, if you can afford a PC and a headset, it might run you more money, but I think if you can afford it, you're going to be happier going that route because you have so many more options of great racing games, great sim games. And like I said, to me, iRacing is untouchable by a lot of these other sims. But there's so many other, you know, great racing games that you can play as well. And you have the option of multiple different headsets. With PSVR2, you get the PSVR2 headset. With PCVR, you know, you can go Quest 2, you can buy a used Rift S, you can buy an old Quest probably for cheap if you wanted it. You know, you can get the Reverb G2. You can also spend more money and you know, you can get an Index if you want it. There's just so many different options. There's a Pico, depending on where you live, that you can buy. There's just so many different options with VR headsets that you can run on PCVR. And again, you can always be changing your GPU. You can upgrade your computer all the time. Yeah, I know I've seen so many comments about, oh, I don't like messing with settings, and you know, we have to do that with PC where the PlayStation 5 just works. Well, I have no problem messing with settings in the PC, because once you have things set, you know where your system can handle, you know where things can handle within a certain game, and you basically, once you have that set, you're good to go. You don't change it in the game every single time you race. You already know what settings work for you and what don't. You know what your system capabilities are. You know what your PC capabilities are. So I'm not sitting here tweaking things all the time. I know what works in what games, and when I have it set the way I want it, it's perfect. They have to do that because different people have different systems. So it's really important that, you know, they give you that option to change things, which is great. You know, I can run things differently. If I want to, if I don't have a powerful system and I'm running iRacing, I can remove things from my graphics. I can remove like stands. I can remove people, and I can raise the resolution and raise the sharpness to look better. So you can actually change things that make things look better for you, that you appreciate more in your VR headset and what you're looking for. So those options are actually a good thing. They're a plus. They're a plus. They're definitely helpful because you can choose what's important to you to see in your headset, and what, you know, do you prefer frames? Do you prefer resolution? Do you prefer less graphics, more graphics, higher sharpness, lower sharpness? Like, you can move everything around to make it work for you. So that's a big deal to me. But anyway, guys, I think I went on enough in this video. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments below. And again, you know, I'm still maybe thinking about picking up PSVR 2, but I keep pulling myself back. But let me know your thoughts. If you can tell me with the video, subscribe. That would be super awesome. And I really appreciate you guys for watching. Hopefully you leave a comment below. Again, keep it civil, keep it nice, respectful, and then we're all good. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching. We out of here. Peace.